Today we're going to be exploring the topic of sex education and we'll be introducing our research proposal. But before that, we will go through some past research findings and get some background knowledge on why it's necessary to raise the question, does proper sex education prevent or reduce unwanted pregnancy or STDs in teenagers? There is a general agreement among researchers that receiving proper sex education has a wide range of benefits for teenagers. But despite these professional opinions, Lamana reports that the American school system has no uniformity when it comes to sex education programs. Furthermore, the federal government has taken an official position in favor of abstention. Between 2001 and 2009, abstinence programs received about $1.5 billion in funds from the federal government. However, there is no evidence that abstinence-only programs are effective in delaying sex or preventing pregnancy or STDs. Teenagers are at a constant exposure to incorrect and confusing information, either through the internet and or through peers, and it can be detrimental to their safety and health. And thus it's important that we advocate and research alternative sex education programs, such as curriculum-based programs. According to Kirby and Laris, comprehensive programs are underfunded due to the stigma built around sex outside of marriage. Yet abstinence programs have no strong evidence of effective delay of the initiation of sex. Although there is an increasing pressure from school boards on abstinence programs, there's also a simultaneous increasing peer pressure to be sexually active and lose virginity among teenagers. According to Kirby and Laris's research on effective curriculum-based sex and STD/HIV education programs, there are usually 17 characteristics that need to be included and that will be increasingly likely to change behavior in a positive way. These characteristics are things such as differing backgrounds in theory, research and sex STD/HIV education, as well as a safe social environment where teenagers feel comfortable to participate in, and multiple activities to change each of the targeted risk and protective factors.
My name is Mi Win, and I'm going to be doing the Introduction Literature Review section. A study by Moore and Smith in 2012 tested knowledge by having 242 college students participate in one of two brief interventions and writing a response paper about their experience regarding certain sexual events. This study was conducted to understand the gaps in college students' knowledge regarding sexual health information and found that the majority of participants learned new information, mostly in regards to STIs and correct condom use. In 2019, a research by Blanton expresses how the lack of comprehensive sexual and reproductive health information suggests critical gaps do exist in the types of information and the mistiming of information received. Research sponsored by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services also support that abstinence-only curricula did not result in any positive outcomes for the sexual health of the U.S. An article by Hall in 2016 emphasizes how schools should provide comprehensive sexual and reproductive health care, including the full range of contraceptive methods and STI testing and treatment services. This found that the most exciting and appealing studies tend to be programs that include rights-based programs, positive youth-centered messages, use of interactive participatory learning, and skill building. The main general theme that the references share is promoting proper sexual education in adolescents that involve healthy, positive, and safe sex instead of only focusing on abstinence. Most of the research mentioned in the references have sampled participants ranging from 15 to 24 years of age, which provides a background of how adolescents have been affected. Furthermore, the experimental group will consist of teenagers in high school that have evidence-based programs. We will measure by comparing students who have been taught abstinence only to students who have been taught abstinence plus for 5 years.
My name is Noemi Matus, and I will be going over the information in slide number 5, which pertains to the research question and the hypothesis. The research question in our study is whether proper sex education will reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies and STDs in teenagers. Our hypothesis is that proper sex education will reduce unwanted pregnancy and STDs in teenagers. Unwanted pregnancy is defined by unwanted or unplanned pregnancy at the time of conception. Previous literature shows that abstinence-only programs are not effective in reducing these factors. Abstinence-only programs inform based on the expectation that abstinence is the expected standard, and they don't inform about the effectiveness of contraception, which includes condom use. The main references used in our study have a general theme of safe sex among teenagers. The experimental group will consist of a group of students in high school who will be involved in the program of abstinence only, and the other group will be consisting of students who will be involved in abstinence plus program. So that's where we will be drawing our comparison from. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aditya Ikram and I will be going over participants, material, and procedure section. So for participants, we will pick a high school in a city of Texas that is not too conservative, and also the high school does not provide proper sex education program. Then we will use social media, flyer, and school announcement to recruit students. Among the interested one, we will pick 200 of 14-year-old students. These students will be chosen at a random mixture of race, ethnicity, sex, gender, etc. So for the materials, we will use two sex education program. One is called Sex Risk Avoidance or SRA program, and the other one is called Abstinence Plus program. SRA program teaches students that premarital sex is bad and should be avoided at any cost. It teaches that avoiding premarital sex is the only way to avoid STD, STIs, or unplanned pregnancies. It does not teach the importance of condoms or how to use condoms. It does not teach the importance of birth control or does not teach safe sex options. Whereas the abstinence plus program teaches about abstinence, sexualities, consent, STDs, STIs, condoms or use of condoms, birth control, etc. This program will prepare students for if and when they will have sex. For the procedure, 200 students will be randomly assigned to Group A and Group B. Each group will have 100 students. Group A will be under the SRA program and Group B will be under the Abstinence Plus program. Both groups will attend a single class of their assigned sex education program.
On to procedure. There will be 200 participants that are randomly assigned to either Group A or Group B. Group A will consist of 100 students who will be taught abstinence only until marriage. This teaches abstinence only until you get married. Group B will be the other 100 students, and they will be taught abstinence plus sex education. This teaches the use of condoms, birth control, what consent is, and how to get STDs and clinics to go to if an STD is contracted or you get pregnant. Both groups will attend a single class associated with their group to learn about the sex education they're grouped with. The parents of all 200 students will be consulted and will have to agree and sign a contract before their child participates in this experiment. In the contract, it will also state that parents cannot agree to their child receiving any other type of sex education as an attempt to eliminate extraneous variables. We do understand that the participants will still get information from peers, friends, and media. Along with the permission of the parents, the children will also have to sign after the experiment has been explained to them. Then they will sign an ethical form that states they agree to cooperate and provide all necessary information for this experiment. This study will be conducted over the next 5 years, and we aim to observe the effects of proper sex education on unwanted pregnancies and STDs compared to abstinence only until marriage through this longitudinal study. We describe unwanted pregnancies as pregnancies that are not planned. We will be keeping track of the participants' medical records with the consent of the parents, required pregnancy test and menstrual cycle records for female participants, required monthly STD screening for both male and females, and biweekly follow-up surveys. We will be required to tell parents if any of the participants get pregnant unless they are over the age of 18. If a participant older than 18 becomes pregnant or screens positive for an STD, we will provide information about clinics who can help and encourage them to talk to someone for mental and emotional support. While letting the parents know, we will also encourage them to provide a healthy and safe environment to discuss the situation, although how the parents react and how the child feels about their parents knowing is also a factor we will be taking into consideration for the experiment. Data will be collected regularly and cross-checked with monthly follow-ups, the medical records, and menstrual cycle for the 5 years. Along with the data, the biweekly surveys will consist of questions about health, mental and physical, menstrual cycles, birth control, and sexual conduct, along with their feelings about sex in general. A separate survey will be administered to any participant that is pregnant and or has an STD. One limitation to this study is that we cannot keep track of if a male participant impregnates a female. Therefore, the data collected for male participants will be less reliable.